sides.
Yes.
It's a triangle.
Good.
Another one made of 4 sides.
Yes.
It's a quadrilateral.
Yes.
The one made of 5 sides is a pentagon.
Good.
The one made of 6 sides is a hexagon.
Yes.
7 sides, heptagon. 8 sides, octagon. 9 sides, nonagon.
Yes.
10 sides, decagon.
Good. So far, we have looked at those first polygons, the one that has 10 sides and their name. Can you continue?
Yes.
Note, in a regular polygon, all the sides are the same.
Yes.
All the angles of the same side, all the angles of the same size, yes.
You are missing a word. All the angles are of the same size. So thank you very much for taking us through that beginning part where we are looking at polygons. They can be regular polygons. They may not be regular polygons, but their names are given based on the number of sides they have. With the 3 sides, that is a triangle, and that's simply polygon. The 4 sides, they are quadrilateral, and 5 sides, hexagon, 6 sides, hexagon, 7 sides, heptagon, 8 sides, octagon, 9 sides, nonagon, and 10 sides. 10 sides? What do you call it? 10 sides? Decagon. Thank you very much. Now, after having gone through that background of polygons, we now have activity 4.2 in the book. I don't know what they call it. 4.2. So we have that activity 4.2 which I've even presented on the blackboard because we want to see how we go about it. The line AB is one side of the square. What are the possible coordinates of the corners of the square? We are given one side of the square. Again, we're supposed to find the possible coordinates corners of this square. Now, we have one side. What do we know about a square? A square.
Excuse me, teacher.
All sides are equal.
Anisha, still? Gloria? Gloria?
Excuse me, teacher.
All sides are equal.
All
All
sides
sides are equal.
Thank you very much. So we have a square. Somebody has told us that for a square, all sides are equal. What else do we know about a square? What else do we know about a square? We are given one side of the square. We are supposed to find the other 3 sides of this square. But we need to know.
It has
Teacher, all
the corners equal.
All the corners are
All the angles are equal.
It has 12 edges.
It has
All the
angles.
It has 4 right angles.
It has equal sides.
It has 4 right angles.
All the corners meet at
It has 4.
Naigaga. Naigaga. Naigaga, unmute. Can you ask what you know about a square apart from sides being equal?
Yes, teacher.
Yes.
It has 4 right angles.
It has 4 right angles. All the angles are equal and the right angles has 4. It has 4 right angles. All the angles are equal. Thank you very much. Now we are going to base on that, since we know what a square looks like, we are going to base on that to complete the square given only one side. We have side AB, meaning that if we are to move from B to C, we must make sure that the angle ABC is 90 degrees, and it will have a length, BC will have a length equivalent to AB, because all the sides are equal. Now, how do we obtain an angle of 90 degrees from point B? Here, from A to B, we are moving 1 step across, 2 steps upwards. If we are to make an angle of 90 degrees, we shall move 1 step upwards. The steps we made, here we made a step, 1 step across, and 2 steps upwards. So if we are to have an angle of 90 degrees, here we made 1 step across, but here we shall make 1 step upwards and 2 steps across in order to obtain an angle of 90 degrees. I repeat, from A to B, we move the 1 step across and 2 steps upwards. Now, the steps we made across are the steps we are going to make upwards, and those ones we made upwards are the ones we are going to make across. 1 step across, 2 steps upwards. Now, we are making 1 step upwards and 2 steps across. We locate point C. That is one of the possible positions of point C. And when you join B to C, you'll be having an angle of 90 degrees. You'll be having an angle of 90 degrees. You can check and measure, see if it is an angle of 90 degrees. Then, from B to C, we have made 1 step upwards, 2 steps across. Then when we are locating the last point D, we are going to make 1 step across and 2 steps downwards. Here we made 1 step upwards, 2 steps across. Now we are going to make 1 step across and 2 steps downwards. Then we shall locate point D. So we find that all the angles are 90 degrees. So that is a regular polygon. We can draw it this side, or we can draw it another side. The starting point is AB, and they're asking for the possible positions of the other corner points. Now we can draw it this side, or we can draw it this other side. If we are to draw it this other side, how do we make the steps? We have 1 step across, 2 steps upwards. Then we shall make 2 steps across, 1 step downwards. Are you getting it? Here we made 1 step across, 2 steps upwards. Then we shall make 2 steps across and 1 step downwards. We locate the possible position of C. Are we together? If you have to have it this side, again, the steps you have made across are the steps you are going to make downwards. Then the steps you have made upwards are the steps you're going to make across. We have 1 step across and 2 steps upwards. Here, we are making 2 steps across and 1 step downwards. Then we locate the possible position of C. We join C.
Like,
Somebody has a question.
Excuse me, teacher.
Can we have Shiha? Shiha. So Shiha, we are waiting for your question or comment. Shiham, if you are very far, can we choose Nabatesa? Nabatesa, please.
Teacher, I was just saying the parts where you said properties of a square. I wanted to add on a square, since it has 4 right angles, it has 4 lines of symmetry.
It has 4 right angles and has 4 lines of symmetry. Thank you. Add on 4 lines of. Thank you very much. Another person? Can we have Mariam Namkasa? Sorry, Namakula? Mariam Namakula?
Teacher, about that of lines of symmetry, isn't it lines of folding symmetry?
Lines of folding symmetry? What are lines of folding symmetry? When you are folding, you fold along the lines of symmetry. So if it has 4 lines of symmetry, you can fold from where you have drawn the lines. Thank you very much. Can we now continue? Yes? From D to A, what are the steps? From D to A, you have 2 steps across, 1 step downwards. From D to A, 2 steps across, 1 step downwards. But even if you don't count the steps, you can measure an angle. You can measure an angle of 90 degrees at each of the corner points and then proceed. Taking the same length, you can obtain the triangle. Now, when we are at C and we want to move from C to D, but from B to C, we have made 2 steps across and 1 step downwards. We have made 2 steps across and 1 step downwards. Then, if we are to move from C to D, we shall make two steps downwards and 1 step across. 2 steps downwards and 1 step across. So we locate the position of D. Then we complete the square. Can you give me the coordinates of point C? Yes. Adikini 2, 7. The coordinates of D. Coordinates of D. Faith. Faith, can you unmute?
Sure, I've just joined.
You have just joined, you are welcome. We are setting, if you have just joined, we are setting the coordinates of point D. Can you give us the coordinates of point D? Do you see point D?
Sure, I don't
You're not
understand.
ready?
I've just joined.
Sorry?
I don't understand. I've just joined.
Please try to follow, and next time come early, don't come late. Elizabeth, can you give us the coordinates of, unmute and give us the coordinates of point D? Elizabeth?
Excuse me, teacher.
Yes?
Teacher, I'm not understanding because I'm not understanding the question because my network is off and on. May you please repeat for me?
Oh, are you on page 26 in our home study learning?
Teacher, may you please repeat for me? I'm not understanding.
Can you open page 26 on our home study learning? We are looking at the polygons and we have started with activity 4.2. Together? Say yes if you are together.
Yes, Chelsea. Yes.
Now, Auma.
Yes, I'm there.
You give us the
I'm there.
The coordinates of point
I'm there.
Give us the coordinates of point B. This is D prime, another possibility. But now we are looking at this D. Give us the coordinates. Pamela? Pamela? Please unmute. Give us submission. Pamela? I'm covering. Part D is here. Can you give us the coordinates? The coordinates of part D. Josephine?
Coordinates of part D are 1, 6, 1, 5.
Remember, I skipped one point, but we can tell what point it is, right?
Yes, teacher.
We have 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11. And the coordinates of D are
1, 5.
1, 5. We have 1, we have 3, we have 5, we have 7, we have 9. So now, sometimes we can skip one gift to avoid overcrowding. But if you want it, you can write everything there. So the coordinates of D are 1, 5. That is one possibility. We are now moving to the second possibility with one line given AB. What other square can we form? We have AB, C prime, D prime. We have A, B, C, D. That is one possibility. The second possibility is A, B, C prime, D prime. And we can state the coordinates of C prime and D prime. What are the coordinates of C prime?
C prime is 6.
So Henrietta Brianna, unmute and give us your submission. Henrietta, not ready? Zoe? Josephine, can you unmute and give us solution? Please talk. Josephine?
Teacher, for which one?
C prime. Coordinates of
It is 6, 5.
Thank you.
6, 5.
Thank you very much. Coordinates of
Excuse me, teacher. I was asking if
somebody who is
Teacher.
asking.
I'm asking, is it a must that there is a sequence? Like if I've moved here 2 points, 1 point down, is it a sequence that next time I'll move 1 point up and then another one down?
It can help you. If not that, then you can measure the angles because we know the properties of a square. We know the properties of a square.
Yes, but is it a must that if from B to C I have moved 2 steps up and 1 step down, does it mean that next one I have to move 2 steps down, 1 step up?
If you want right the alternative is measuring the angles. We know that from A to B, B to C, you must have a right angle. So you can measure that angle and take the same length AB, this side, you locate point C. from C to D, you still have to measure an angle of 90 degrees. But taking the same length, DC will be the same as CD. So all these sides are equal and all the angles are equal. So we are using the properties of a square. And one way of obtaining them, the 90 degrees, if I've taken one step across and 2 steps upwards to draw the other line, the steps I took across are the steps I'm going to make upwards, and then the step I took upwards are the steps I'm going to make across. Then locate the point. To get 90 degrees, it doesn't work for other angles. It works only for 90 degrees. Is that okay? Is that okay? So now, Zoe, can you give us the coordinates of D prime?
Teacher, the coordinates are 5, 3.
5, 3.
3.
5 on the x-axis, 3 on the y-axis. So now those are the possible squares you can form, you can get with one line given. Are we together? Yes. Thank you very much. Now I want us to continue to the next exercise, but we are going to do it together. I'm a group member. I'm a member of your group. We are going to do it together. You must have your graph book prepared, and then we are going to begin plotting. This is the exercise. To do it together, they are going to be giving me the missing point. Yes. Can somebody help us understand what the question requires us to do? Exercise question number 1. Can somebody help us understand what the question requires us to do? I can see Najinda Mulumba, 1 South.
Good morning, teacher.
Morning, Najinda.
The question is, in each case, the coordinates of 3 corners of a square are given. Find the coordinates of the other corner. They need you to first plot the points on the graph. Then after you join, then you measure so that it can make a square, or you can like move the steps.
Thank you very much. That is how Najinda has helped us to interpret the question. Can we have another person to see if we are all at the same point? Janet, please unmute and give us your submission.
So they have given us 3 corners, so they want us to find the next corner to form a square.
You agree that we have to first plot these 3?
Yes, and then you join, then you look for the other coordinates, and then you make one square.
Thank you very much. We still have our properties of the square. So with the 3 points given, this will help us identify the position of the 3rd point, the 4th point. So can we use the graph board? Members, in coordinates, we draw graphs as many times as possible because this topic introduces us to the many graphical work which are specifically or which are very common in paper 1. Paper 1 mathematics, when you come to senior 4, we shall do 2 papers, paper 1 and paper 2. And paper 1 is not dominated by topics that have graphs. So it is very important that we understand clearly what we are supposed to do so that we don't find problems when it comes to that paper that has so many graphs. Now we have the coordinates. Before we draw the X and Y axis, first look at the coordinates. And those ones will guide us on how far on the X-axis we shall go and how far on the Y-axis we shall go. We have some positive values and some negative values. We have some positive values and some negative values. The one we have just removed, 4.2, it had only positive values, but now we have the positives and negatives. So we cater for that when we are drawing. the X and Y axes. So we have the X-axis, we have the Y-axis. Always label the axes. You can't draw a graph without labeling the axes. And always mark the axes so that we get to know where exactly the point we are talking about is. Mark the axes so that we get to know where exactly the point is. And we are taking equal steps. Some people might have, that is one step and then this is the other step. The axes must have equal steps. And we preferably, we are using your graph paper, we are using 1 centimeter. The steps are 1 centimeter. From 0 to -1, we have 1 centimeter. From -1 to -2, we have 1 centimeter. From -2 to -3, we have 1 centimeter. So the steps are equal. We have -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. We have 0 and 0. Below the origin, 0, 0 is the origin. Below the origin, all the Y values are negative. And then above the origin, all the Y values are positive. The right-hand side of the origin, the X values are positive. And the arrow means the values continue. They don't stop there. They continue. Then we have -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. You can have so many values, as many as we want. But when we look at our part A, all these numbers on question number 1, part A, part B, part C, part D, and part E can be done on one graph. But for clarity, we are going to separate. You might have them on the same graph. If you have drawn them already, they can be on the same graph. But for clarity, we are going to separate part A from part B from part C, and so on, so that we can see it clearly. Now, when you look at the values, part A, we have 2, -2, we have 2, 3, we have -3, +3. So the biggest value on the Y is 3. And the smallest is -2. We have catered for them. For the X, the smallest value is -3. And the biggest value is +2. So we have catered for those values. Now we can plot. The first point is 2, -2. 2 on the X-axis, 2, -2. So we have 2 on the X-axis, -2 on the Y-axis. So we plot the first point. 2, -2. Then the second point is 2, 3. 2, 3. 2 is on the X-axis. This is the X coordinate, while the 3 is the Y coordinate. I'm trying to remind those people who are not there at the beginning how we get the coordinates. It is always the X coordinate first and then the Y coordinate second. So we have 2, 3. We have 2 on the X-axis and 3 on the Y-axis. So that is the second point. The third point is -3, 3. -3, 3. The -3 is on the X-axis and +3 is on the Y-axis. Where is the point? -3 and +3. So we have, that is the third point. So far, we have 3 points. We have 1 point, we have the second point, we have the third point. Probably we already have a 90 somewhere. So our second property and the first property are already giving us the starting point. So can we join this and then find the missing point if it is a square? This figure here is a square. We have this point joined to that one, this one joined to that one. So where will the fourth point be so that we have a square? First of all, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is it the same as this length here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So far we are okay. Now we are trying to locate the fourth point. What will guide us? The angle must be, if you are to begin from here, the angle must be 90 degrees. And if you are to begin from here, see, the angle must be 90 degrees. Now, how do we get a 90 degrees? We can join. We can try to join. We can draw a thin line. This angle here is 90 degrees. When we draw a thin line here, even this angle is 90 degrees. So where is our point? We have this line and this line. They are intersecting at this point. Do you think that is the position of the missing point?
Yes.
Now, if this is the position of the missing point, what are the coordinates of that missing point? Gentlemen. Now, can somebody give us the coordinates of the meeting point? We have Franklin Agaba. Franklin Agaba. Agaba Franklin.
Teacher.
Yes.
It is -3 and -2.
-3, -2. -3 on the x-axis and -2
on the y-axis.
Good. So that is the possible position of that point. Those who are drawing, draw very fast, and then we move to the second one.
Teacher,
yes.
Are you going to do the second number on the same graph of paper?
You can have the second number on the same graph if you provided for it. But for me, I'm going to do one by one because if there are many, sometimes we can be mixed up with how we find the missing one. I don't want our graph to be crowded. I'm going to separate them. So we have got, that is part A. Can we move on? Somebody has a question? Pick one. Go taking the
Where is Kalima Shadia?
Kalima Shadia?
If at all you have a question, Kalima Shadia. Okay, let us go to Nasos.
Nasozi?
Mariam.
Nasozi, unmute. Give us your submission.
Teacher, I wanted to give the other answer, but it's...
The other answer? So you agree with what we have been given?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
Leila, Nahia, you have a question?
Excuse me, teacher, which page are we on?
Page 26, now 27. Page 27 in our home study learning booklet. Are you there? We are doing that exercise where we are given 3 corner points and we are supposed to find the fourth corner point of a square. The questions are on the screen. You can get them. Can we move to part B? They skipped B, but now we are moving to C. Part C? Part C.
Teacher, which page are we on? Yeah, I don't know. Leila, another knows.
What if you're finished doing all of them? Can I give you what I've got and we prove as we are doing together?
Okay, let's first do part B together, then I will ask you to give me. Let's first do part B together, now ask you.
Excuse me, teacher.
Name?
On Najinda Maison Mulumba. On the point of finding the other side of the square, can you just measure instead of finding the angles and counting the parts?
Measuring is one option. Yes, you can measure the angle and also the length, because we know that if it is a square, all the sides are equal and all the angles are equal. So that is one option. You can measure the angles and sides, then locate the point. Is it fine?
Okay. Yes, thank you.
Yes. Now,
Excuse me, teacher. Excuse me, teacher.
Pauline?
I came
Pauline?
and found you when you were on the teacher. I came and found you when you were on the exercise, but I wasn't there in the beginning lesson. I just came when you were on the exercise and I saw you doing this one of plotting what on page 27. That's why I wanted to know what we are writing.
Can we do part B together so that you follow? Can we?
Okay.
It's indicated as part C. What are the coordinates? Coordinates? 2, 3, 3, 4, 1, 4. So if you have just joined, please, we are plotting. They have given us 3 corner points of a square, and we know the properties of a square. We have listed them here. All the sides are equal, and all the angles are equal, and they are 90 degrees. So if given 3 corner points out of the 4, are we able to identify the missing one, the first one, using the properties stated here? That is what we are doing. Now, part B, part C, part B that appears like part C in your book, we have the coordinates of the 3 corner points, 2, 3, 3, 4, 1, 4. Now, can we plot them and then find the missing corner points? We have 2, 3, the x coordinate first, the y coordinate second. So we have our first point. Our second point is 3, 4. What is the x coordinate? 3. And what is the y coordinate? 4. So we have 3, 4. That is our other corner point. Then we have 1 on the x and 4 on the y. 1 on the x and 4 on the y. So we have that one. When we join them, we locate the missing one. We have 3 of the corner points, and we are supposed to find the first one. So, can we have an angle of 90 degrees? Those ones who are measuring, you can measure an angle of 90 degrees. When you measure an angle of 90 degrees, you draw this line. Then when you measure an angle of 90 degrees, you still draw this other line. Where do the two intersect? Where do the two intersect? So can you set the coordinates of the remaining point?
2, 5.
2, 5.
5.
2, 5. Thank you
2,
very
5.
much. Thank you very much.
Yeah, should I give you my points now, my answers?
We pick someone to help us know if we are moving it together. We have Kalungi Shiba. Kalungi Shiba.
Dada.
Yes.
Aliyo. Aliyo. Niko ba aliyo ya. Aliyo.
We have Amina. Amina, please. Amira, please.
Yeah,
Are you
I
there?
give you my answers.
Are we together? Are we moving on together?
Yes, teacher.
Yes. Now we have part C, part D, and part E. Part C, part D, and part E. Can you give us the coordinates of the missing point for part C?
2, -4.
2, -4. What are the coordinates of? What are the corner points given for part D? Corner points given for part D?
Oh, sorry, teacher. Part D is 6, 2.
4, 0. So now we are looking for the coordinates of the missing point.
6, 2, teacher.
Yes.
For part D, 6, 2.
For part D, 6, 2. For part D, 6, 2. Do you agree? Sooner, Rania, have we got the same?
Teacher,
Yes.
I was asking, when you're doing this graph work, do we use pencil or pen?
When plotting, we use a pencil. Writing, we use a pen. Right. Okay. When we are drawing the axes, we are using a pencil, and the marking, we are using a pencil. But writing, we are using a pen. Are we together? Then plotting, we are using a pencil. Plotting, we are using a pencil. But writing, we are using a pen. Is your question answered?
Yes, teacher.
Now somebody is asking, how do we get 36? Which means they have to look at how we obtain them. We had part D, we have 2, 2, 4, 4, and 4, 0. And 4, 0. So, members, allow me work it out so that we get how we are getting the missing point. Can we plot the first point? 2, 2. Then 4, 4. 4 on the X, 4 on the Y. Where they intersect, that is all. Then 4, 0. 4 on the X and 0 on the Y. 4 on the X, 0 on the Y. We plot the point. So far we have 3 points. How do we get the missing one? Now, how shall we get the missing one? When you measure an angle of 90 degrees, allow me count the steps. From this point to this point, we are moving 1, 2, 1, 2. Even when we are moving to the next step, we shall move 1, 2, 1, 2. Then we locate the point. We check if what we have got is what we are supposed to get. If from this side, this point to this point, we are moving 1, 2 steps, 1, 2 steps. So in order to locate the other point, we shall move 1, 2 steps, 1, 2 steps, and we are coming to that point. What are the coordinates of that point? What are the coordinates of that point? 2, 6. 6, 2, 6. The Musmenta, can you give us the coordinates of the missing point? We have located it, but now what are the coordinates?
Della Musmenta.
Can you unmute and give us your submission?
She's just spoken.
Maybe the network. Crystal? Crystal, can you give us the coordinates of the missing point? We started with this point, this one, and that one. This was missing, but we have located it. Can you give us the coordinate?
Teacher, 6, 2.
It is 6, 2. 6, 2. Thank you very much. So that is how we locate the missing point. That is how we locate the missing point. And do the same with part D, part E, and part F. Part E and part F. You are checking. So complete what you are doing with number 1, those different parts. And then we are going to move to number 2 of the same exercise. And by the way, they labeled number 1 and number 1. Can you make the second one number 2? In your booklets, make the second one number 2. And then we also try number 2 before we move to the next one. So the remaining parts, you'll find them on the WhatsApp group. Can someone interpret for us the requirement of number 2? The remaining parts of number 1, you'll find them on your WhatsApp group or on the e-learning platform. Mr. Namdara is going to help us.
Number 2.
Yes, number 2, somebody, your name?
They have Amira.
Amira.
They have given us the corners of a rectangle.
Yes,
and we are going to find the fourth corner.
So shall we complete it and the rest we shall find?
You are going to complete the remaining two parts of number 1, and you will check your answer using the solution that we will find on the e-learning platform or on your WhatsApp group. It's going to be sent there. Now, number 2, Amira, you have given us insight on what question requires. We are given 3 sides.
And we are going to use them to find the fourth corner.
Fourth corner. Now we have moved from a square to a rectangle. From a square to a rectangle. What do we know about a rectangle? Because what we know about a rectangle will help us identify the missing corner point. So what do we know about a rectangle? Josephine?
A rectangle has 4 sides.
Has 4 sides.
A rectangle.
A rectangle has 4 sides which are equal in length.
Opposite sides.
A rectangle has 2 lines of
sides of a rectangle are equal. Opposite sides of a rectangle are equal.
Whose opposite are parallel and whose opposite are parallel and equal. What
a
else?
rectangle has 2 lines of folding symmetry. A
rectangle has 2 lines of folding symmetry. What else do we know about a rectangle? What else do we know about a rectangle? Mimi? Mimi? Mimi, can you unmute and give us your submission? What do you know about a rectangle? Mimi?
She doesn't know the name she wrote on her guide. Go to another person.
That one. Hadija? Hadija, Hadija, are you there? People, during your free time, find a spot where there is network. Sometimes it's a problem of network. Gloria, one East. Gloria, what do you know about a rectangle?
A rectangle has 4 right angles.
A rectangle has 4 right angles. All the angles are equal and they are right angles. Anything else we know about a rectangle that you have not stated here? Yes? Thank you. I think what we have will guide us when we are we go straight to
Teacher.
Your name? Your name?
It's meme.
Name, yes.
Teacher, it's a 4-sided polygon.
It is a four-sided polygon. That is very right. That is very right. A rectangle is a four-sided polygon, or it is a quadrilateral. It has four sides, but what we have said about the sides, they are all equal. It has four sides, but two opposite sides are parallel, and then has two lines of folding symmetry, and it has four right angles. Now we are moving to question number 2. We have part A. The coordinates of the three corners of a rectangle are given. Find the coordinates of the other corner. Negative 4, 1, 6, 1. 6, 1. So when we are drawing our XY plane, we take into consideration of the smallest X coordinate. The smallest is -4 and the biggest is 6. Then on the Y, the biggest is 2 and the smallest is 1. So you have to put it in consideration when you are drawing the axes. We need -4, we need +6 on the x-axis. And we start. So our axis, our x-axis, must cater for the -4 as well as the +6. This is our x-axis. Maybe we can begin with 6, 4, and even have 8, 6, 4, 2, 0. Then this side we shall have -2, -4, -6. This does not mean that we don't have the points in between, but just to avoid overcrowding, you can take the steps of 2, 2, but in the middle, there are of course other values. We have 1, we have 3, we have 5, we have 7, we have -1, we have -3, we have -5, we can even have -7. This is the x-axis, and of course the y-axis we go through, x is equivalent to 0. The vertical axis meets the horizontal axis at 0, 0. We have the y-axis. We have 2, 4, 6. We have -2, -4, -6. We can sometimes plot O to represent the origin, whose coordinates are 0 on the X and 0 on the Y. -1, -3, -5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We are writing the Y values to the left of the Y-axis. Don't write them this side. It is a way of representing the Y-axis. We always write them on its left, not on its right. Even the values of X are written below, not above. Now, can we plot the given points? The first one is -4 to -4 is the X coordinate, 2 is the Y coordinate. So we shall have -2 on the X-axis and +2, -4 on the X-axis and +2 on the Y. Where the 2 intersect is our -4, 2. Then we have -4, 1. -4 is our X coordinate and 1 is our Y coordinate. So we have -4 and 1. Then we have 6, 1. 6 on the x-axis, 1 on the y-axis. So now we are joining what we have. Remember, the corner points form 90 degrees. The angles of a rectangle are 90 degrees. So when we join this point to this one, the other line that will be joined at this point will form an angle of 90 degrees at this point. So that's why you don't connect the above point to this one, because that angle will not be, the angle here, if we join this to this, the angle here will not be 90 degrees. That's why we are joining the lower points, so that the angle between the two sides of a rectangle are 90 degrees. This angle is 90 degrees. Now, the way we are moving from this point to that point is the same way we shall move from this point to the last point, for the two to be parallel. If this line is to be parallel to the line we are going to draw here, the way we move from this point to that point is the same way we shall move from this point to the above point. Now, how do we move from this point to that point? Do we move any step across? No, we are not moving any step across, but we are moving one step upwards. So still, we are not going to move any step across, and we shall move one step upwards. And we locate the missing point. So we complete our rectangle, and then we state the coordinates of the missing point.
6, 2.
6, 2.
6, 2.
6. Thank you very much.
6, 2.
6, 2. Can we, if you are through with that one, we are going to move to part B, plotting the points that are given, and then find the missing point. We are going to try point D, and during your time, you're going to do C and D, and find the missing point. Can I erase here?
Yes.
Someone has Najinda?
No, I was just answering. I'm done.
You are done. Thank you.
Yes.
There you will have more possibilities, just like we did with the first example. Somebody is asking, if you are given 2 points, how do you find the remaining? There you have more than one option, just like we did in the activity 4.1. There are more options, but now when you are given 3 points, you only have one option, just like we have done with this one. Now we are going to do part B. Part B. Hope it will fit here. Part B, we are having our x-axis. Can you give me the corner points given? 2, 0. 2, 0. Negative 2, 0. Negative 2, 0. 4, negative 6. 4, negative 6. We are having that negative 6 on our graph because we have it here. Now, we are given points 2, 0, negative 2, 0, 4, 6. Always remember the x coordinate is given first, followed by the y coordinate. And when you are plotting, you give the numbers on you always find the x coordinate on the axis. Now, on the x-axis, the first point, we have a 2, and then a 0 on the y-axis. We have a 2 and 0. We are not moving any step on the y-axis, so we have 2, 0. Then we have a negative 2, 0. On the x-axis, we have negative 2, but on the y, we have a 0. We have a negative 2 on the x-axis, and we are not moving any step in the y direction. So our point remains here. Some people, you will find anything to do with the 0, they will plot it here. but that is 0, 0, not any value and 0. Any value and 0, you first plot that value, and then it will remain on the x-axis if we are not moving any step upwards. The third point is 4, negative 6. 4, negative 6. 4 on the x-axis and negative 6 on the y-axis. So we plot our point. And we now have those 3 points. We have those 3 points. You made a mistake when you are giving me the coordinates. We have part B, it is 0, 2, because I was not seeing 90 degrees coming. Instead of 0, 2, you gave me 2, 0. Can you check what is the coordinate? It is 0, 2. So here it is a 0, 2, and then this is negative 2, 0. Yes. Where do we have 0, 2, 0 on the x-axis and 2 on the y. So can you make the corrections? Those ones who had done it the way we have done it. Now, when we join the given points, we can begin with this short line. And then we find if when we join this point, the second point with the last point, the first point with the last point, we are not getting, this angle will not be 90 degrees. What about if we join the second point with the last point? Do we have a 90 degrees? Yes. Now, with this line here, you are moving 1, 2 steps, 1, 2 steps high. Then, when we are joining, this line is cutting in the middle of each box. Now, if we tried to join it with this one is crossing 2 boxes, and yet this one is crossing 1 box. So this angle here can't be 90 degrees. If we join here, if we join like that, this angle here can't be 90 degrees. Why? The first line is crossing between each box. But here, this one is crossing 2 boxes. Therefore, this angle can't be 90 degrees. However, when you join the second point to the last point, this line is cutting through each box. Just like the first one, this one was crossing, cutting through each box. And when we draw this one, it is doing the same. Alternatively, you can even measure this angle and see if it is 90 degrees. If you drew this and you measure this angle, it will not give us 90 degrees, which is not with the common with the rectangle. So this angle has to be 90 degrees. Now, when you join to that, that's when we have the right line. And now, if this is one point of the corner points, second, third, the line here has to be parallel and equivalent to, because now these are going to be 2 opposite sides. We have this side here, we are supposed to get a corresponding opposite side. They are supposed to be parallel. If they are parallel, the way we move from this point to this, they are parallel and equal. The way we move from this point to that is the same way we shall move from this point to the last point. How do we move here? We are moving 2 steps across, and how many steps upwards? 2. We are moving 2 steps across. 1, 2, then 1, 2. The way we have moved from this point to the last point is the same way we are going to move from this point to the last point. So we are going to move 2 steps across and 2 steps upwards. Then we locate the position of the last point. Now, the coordinates of 6, -4, Kasana. Have Kasana. Kasana, unmute and give us your submission. Kasana. We have Zoe here, has left. We had in Kasana, you're not, can you unmute? Kasana, please unmute. Waiting.
A question.
Yes, please.
Can you first repeat for me the part of what? Of the coordinates 0, 2.
0, 2. Now, we can cross-check the coordinates given, the corner points given, part B. We are given 0, 2, right? We are given -2, no, and 4, -6, right? Now, with 0, 4, sorry, 0, 2, the first coordinate is the x coordinate, and the second coordinate is the y coordinate. Here we have a so when we are looking for Hasana, when we are looking for the x coordinate, we come on the x-axis. And where do we find the 0? It is at the origin. We combine it with the y coordinate. And what is the y coordinate? It is 2. So our point 0, 2 is there. 0, 2. Then -2, 0. Our x coordinate is -2 and our y coordinate is a 0. So our x coordinate is a -2 and our y is a 0. Where do we find -2 on the x-axis? It is here. And then a 0 on the y here. So that means when we intersect the 2, we find the point -2, 0. Then the other point was a 4, -6. 4 on the x-axis and 6 on the y. So we have our point 4, -6. Is it answered? Yes. Good. Now, the last point, we'll get it by knowing that using the properties of a rectangle, the length of the side, the opposite sides of the rectangle are equal and parallel, and all the angles are 90 degrees. So when we join this point to that one, we ensure that the other line we are going to draw from the first line we have drawn has to make an angle of 90 degrees at that point. When we try to join the first point to the last point, the angle we are getting was not 90 degrees. And therefore, we had to move to the second point and the third. When we joined, we realized that this angle is 90 degrees. Therefore, we had joined the 3 first points, and we are supposed to locate the last one. But we know that the line here and its opposite have to be equal and parallel. So how we move from this point to that point is the same way we move from this point to the last point. And how do we move? From here up here, we are moving 2 steps across and 2 steps upwards. So we have 2 steps across and 2 steps upwards. That is the same way we move from this point to the last point. We move 2 steps across and 2 steps upwards. So we locate the point. And the coordinates, 6,
6, -4.
6, -4.
Thank you very much. Thank you. You're going to represent
negative 4 and 5, negative 4 and 5, negative 2 and 0. So where do you coordinate the what? Where do you put the? Because they are given negative what?
Speak louder, Josephine. The members are listening.
For the what? For the C, they are given negative 4 and 5, negative 2 and 1, and 1 and 0. Where do you put the number for 1 and 0?
1 is the X coordinate, 0 is the Y coordinate. Can you come and show it to us here? Somebody has a question. Where do we plot 1, 0? But we know that 1, 0. But we know that the first coordinate is the X coordinate and the second coordinate is the Y coordinate.
So this is the Y coordinate. The first, do you plot it here or here?
Can you give the coordinates of the other point?
This point?
Yes.
It is separating the axis.
Yes, they intersect at the origin and the coordinates of the origin are 0, 0. If the X coordinate and Y coordinate are 0, then you plot it at the origin. But now 1, 0, 1 is the X coordinate and 0 is the Y coordinate. Can you plot it? Josephine is trying to locate point 1, 0, and we clap her. 1 on the X and 0 on the Y. So she was asking about the next point where the coordinates, the 3 corner points, 1, 0 is. And so how do you plot it? And she has answered her own question. If even the people out there, you can also plot. Never confuse the origin, the 0 with kind of the
Excuse me, teacher.
0 as one of the coordinates.
Teacher.
Maria, yes.
I need your help on number A. I did not understand how you got that rectangle there.
Number?
On
number?
A.
Number A is not what we have
on
here.
Number
Is,
1 A rectangle.
What we have here is B, not A.
It is B, but teacher, I did not understand A.
Have you understood part B?
Yeah, that's B, but I don't understand A. Like how? Yes.
Have you understood
I
part
have
B?
understood part B, but I do not understand part A.
What is, because now
Yes.
part A is not on the block, on the chalkboard, what we have here, part B. Maybe you be specific, ask a specific question for part A, because I have the record here, but it is not on the chalkboard. What is your question about part A?
Teacher, like when I was plotting, like I didn't get something vertical to make a rectangle.
You didn't get something vertical? Yes?
Yeah. Yeah, like when I was plotting to get my rectangle. It wasn't like yours that you plotted.
Part A?
Yes.
What are the coordinates? What are the corner points of part A? What are the corner points?
X1.
Part A, corner points. -4, 2, -4, 1, 6, 1, and 6, 1. -4. Oh, number 2 in the part B is okay. Yes. -4 on the x-axis and 2 on the y-axis. -4 on the x-axis and 2 on the y-axis. -4, 2. Then we have -4, 1. -4 on the x-axis, 1 on the y-axis. So the point is -4, 1. And the other corner point is 6, 1. 6 on the x-axis, 1 on the y-axis. 6 on the x, 1 on the y-axis. Now, supposing we were to join the first point to the last one, if we were to join from here up to here, first of all, we have one side is from here up to here. Supposing we were to join from the first point to the last point, would we have a right angle? Would we have a right angle if we were to join there?
Not teacher.
Angle be 90 degrees? No, that angle is not 90 degrees. Therefore, we join the second point to the third point in order to achieve a right angle. This is 90 degrees. Now, how you have moved from here, how we moved from the second point to the first point, is the same way we shall move from the third point to the fourth point. And how do we move from the second point to the first? You don't move any step across, but you simply move vertically one step.
One step.
Move any step across, you simply move vertically one step.
One step.
So, yeah, that is one step. And that is exactly the same way you remove from the third point to the fourth point. We shall not move any step across, but we move one step vertically and locate the last point of the rectangle.
6, 2.
Your question answered? Is your question answered? Now the coordinates of the last point is
2. 6, 2.
Gloria and the rest, that is how we move to the last point. Now you're going to do part C and the part D, the same way we have done the first 2 points. And please, you also try question number 3 and the question number 4. Question number 3 and the question number 4, do them as an exercise. And yes, what appears like a question number 2, because the question number 1 had been repeated. So where we have question number 3, number 2 and number 3, they are question 3 and 4. This is question number, this one is question number 3, and this is question number 4 for your exercise. Any comment?
No.
Akampura, can you unmute? Akampura, unmute and give us your submission. Yes. Your submission. Is Akampura there? Unmute yourself and give us your submission. Akampura not there. We have Elisha Nachitende. Elisha Nachitende. Where have the word?
Excuse me, teacher. Excuse me, teacher.
Yes, please. Can you talk?
Teacher, this is Namakula Mariam.
Namakula Mariam, yes, please.
Teacher, I wanted to tell you that my connection is unstable. So where can I find the work anywhere else?
Okay, you get in touch with Mr. Namdala, who is in charge of coordinating this program for senior 1, and you will get your recording.
Those ones who have just come, you go on the e-learning platform. Right now, the lesson is ending. You go to the platform.
Okay.
The lesson, you go to Math, you find the date of today, but I'll put the lessons in the evening, not now.
Aisha?
Excuse me, teacher.
Yes?
I didn't understand part B.
Part B?
Yes, of the exercise of the rectangle.
Can you please go to the learning platform, the e-learning platform?
I'm going to put there the video, you go, you watch, and you see the lesson again. Those ones who have not.
Okay, thank you.
And please attempt exercise number 3 and number 4. I wish you a good day.
Me?